Welcome to the Scrabble stream. Let's play some Scrabble. We will be second in the first game today. Not quite obesities or anything like that. That would be too many tiles. Actually, Toby's, Toebies, I believe is good. We'll see if it is able to go down and if the board is going to cooperate. So it's going to be 6-round fade out. Very nice start from my opponents. We'll probably just put Toby's on the bottom over here, but let me just see if there's something like a better overlap. Probably with that U and fade out in the way, I don't see it as being that likely. However, so you would have something like this, 77 here, or a bigger position here with the double over the I, double spot over the I. Sacrifice 2 points to go parallel like this. I actually kind of like it. Let's go with that. Because it's 79 the other way, but there is that massive spot over the I that could hit back for something. I will draw a challenge. And Rad Dude, welcome. Now let's see what my opponent does next. As far as what I've got, the doubled R is going to get in the way a little bit. I'm not really seeing a lot of potential for 8s, but I will take a further look here just to check if something like the PRE or PRO prefix might get us somewhere. In the meantime, I better bring up the notepad just in case we need to use it. Change 4 for my opponents. Ideally, I'd like to go with something down here. It would almost certainly have to be something like a PL or GL start. Like, well, PLE, GLE, something. And I don't really see that available right now. There's no ABO in this lexicon, I don't think. Let's see what I can do here. Maybe, yeah, because I'm trying to take advantage of that spot. I closed off quite nicely for obstructing both players here. Well, failing anything else, I think we'll probably just go... Yeah, because like normally I just want to go ogle or something here, but I'm pretty sure ABO isn't in this lexicon, so not really a possibility. Let's not burn too much time on this. I would like to get rid of some of the R's. We want to leave that spot on the left. 13 points is not great. I think we can do a lot better. What we can do is erg down here. Or actually, org over there. That's a lot better. Let's go for that. 19. A little bit too much doubling on the rack again. I'm trying to see if there could potentially be something through the T and fade out. Still nothing that I can see off of the PL start, the PLE start on the right side that I was hoping to go for. And of course, now that we no longer have a G, we don't have anything that'll go left of that U. Or, for that matter, next to the NU. So, let's see. It's quite closed off here, and then, I mean, we can just undouble and go like this for 17. That's actually not too bad, I don't think. 2-tile play, pretty good leave. Not a lot of bingo potential on the board necessarily. Now, this looks like it's close to something. I feel like there's actually something through the T. Let me think about that. I'm thinking of terpinol with the I, but then there's something close to it that is... Like, I don't think there's a terpinol, but there's something close to that. I am reminded of that rack for some reason. It is... And the thing is, a lot of vowels will go after kin. Both the E and the O will go after it. So, unfortunately, that's no longer going to be relevant. So, we can't play through the T regardless. I bet we had something there. But no need to dwell on it now. Now, there's a 2-tile play for my opponent that might open up some hooks on the left side, so we do need to be cognizant of that. I may actually just go for something like pole over here, keep ERN, or even prol keeping RN. Let's just go for that. A little bit vowel heavy. So we will need to deal with that somehow. And the thing is, not very many consonants to play through, apart from the P and pole at the moment. We'll see if we have a way to just play off a vowel dump like IURE or something somewhere on the board. We'll take it, but I don't currently see anything to that effect. Or even just a 5-tile play like in Euro or something. I mean, I don't know if this is really that good. 14 over there. It's a very even game so far, but a very closed board, as you can see. Unless something is going to suddenly hit over here, which I think both players will be looking at quite keenly, or coming down with an S lane over here, that the bottom right quadrant of the board is likely to remain inaccessible for some time. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, currently a bit of a low-scoring game. My opponent did just play off 2, and so there is potentially some bingo rack potential from their end, and I might very well have just give them a lane. Of course, next to the W, you had S or T going to the left of what before I slightly obstructed it. So I don't know if that was meant to set up a lane on the left side. Something like a T start here or an S start here with the tiles that would have gone to the left of what are the likeliest lanes at the moment. I should think about what actually goes before org over here. Anyway, let's see if we can do something now because the board remains quite closed. And I'm not really sure that I have much that I can play to here. Because I don't have anything that will go after OM. Don't really have anything. I don't really have anything. There are no plays here. I might as well just maybe do an exchange. We are 20 points behind or so it's not great. But if we maybe dump EUI, because there's no place to play right now, right? So I don't know that I can actually have anything useful here. Might actually be better to change the UI, I think. Maybe not a great situation to be in. I absolutely locked myself off of the board. Actually, getting rid of the U means that we don't have anything that'll go above the P and pull now. But I don't think I would have kept a U on the previous exchange for that. You were thinking ripen. Ripen? I didn't think man took anything in front. Like after man went down, I don't think that was available anymore. And yeah, Chess Bunzo, welcome. Hope you had fun with this summer's run of the big over-the-board tournaments. I seem to recall seeing you fairly high up the tables in one of them, at least. But it's hard to keep all of them straight after a few weeks away. So I'm actually thinking ornery over here, or 18 as my best available play at the moment, because that undoubles everything. Let's make sure we're diligent about this, though, and don't just miss something big off the Z first. Yeah, Tisder is only 19. Both players are really stuck at the moment. I think this is by far the best option. And, of course, we get to use an eyes back. What a really tight board. We have to be careful with time here because when the board closes up like this, time trouble can be on the way. And yeah, Red Dude, I didn't think man took anything in front. I would have seen it. Yeah, you said you were doing pretty well in SBC this summer before collapsing at the end. Yeah, unfortunately, that can happen, as you know, and just have to enjoy the run while you've got it. It's very tempting to just take the points here. It's 31 points. I mean, it's an absolutely dreadful leave. But what else am I really even going to do here unless I'm just going off to Z? Now, that's a little bit more balanced. It does open up the possibility that if I draw into another E or I can still take the Z spot, or rather the, not the Z spot, the H spot up top. The anything I can do here? No, we're not dumping all the consonants and leaving a massive lane on the left. So yeah, I'm thinking it will probably be Z in here 26 to take that. This is too ugly, I think. Like, we don't want to be drawing into that kind of nonsense. And the thing is, the H is pretty much the best tile that can go up to the top anyway. I have the only remaining H. I think it makes more sense to go here first. Unless I have something that I can use the U with down here first. I don't think so. Let's just take it. This is one of those games where, you know, it's fairly close. It's very locked down. We need to take the points where we have them. The issue here is that we currently will not have a way to take the H spot up top. After all, I will have to... So close to Dervish, except if we don't have an E instead of an U. We'll have to figure out how to play off some of the garbage here. Zine also takes a B at the end. That's currently not really in play. But I'm trying to see if maybe there is something that would make use of the S there in a way that would fit neatly. If not, then yeah, maybe something over here. Hard to see anything there though. I mean, maybe just on the left side just to get rid of some of this stuff. How much would that be? As you can see, we're both going to be in time trouble, I think, with this game being as closed off as it is. If I have a way to get rid of the V and the U together in a sensible way, I'll obviously want to take it. But otherwise, even small 20-point plays are going to be very consequential here. It's too bad that we might be giving up on the H idea up here. I don't think anything goes before FY, which is too bad because the top right is just locked off. And look at that. Oh yeah, I forgot about the easy and hook. So 30 points, surprisingly huge actually. For a 4-tile vowel dump like that. That's something I should have actually remained cognizant of. There's an A hook in front as well. Like E goes in front, A hook in front goes in front. We should have gone Z-E-I-N. I don't know why we didn't go Z-E-I-N. It would have given me an H spot over the I. So like this was a bit of a mistake. Z-E-I-N is the play. We wanted to go for that spot. We need to shed some stuff. Try to keep pace a little bit. Not really giving myself opportunities with the S. We just need to manage the rack, I think. One blank draw already went down at the beginning of the game, and the E and fade out. The other one's still up for grab. Actually, with the triple there already taken, maybe we should have gone Shiv down here on that turn. Shiv keeping RUD, but then that would have scored about 30. And we should have taken that. I actually feel like in retrospect, Shiv on the right side is better. The V doesn't give that much back. And it really locks things down. Yeah. Moved a little too fast and on the left there, I think. Plaguers, and the thing is, it would have stopped Plaguers as well. I'm going to check this one. I think it's probably right, but it is good. All right, we're in a little bit of trouble now. Actually, we're in a lot of trouble now because this board is so locked down, and both blanks are spent. We don't really have a bingo opportunity. I think we undouble like this. Go Rav. Leave an S spot on the right. It's only 10 points, but yeah, it's too bad we're keeping an I here with only the O and the I to play through down at the bottom as well. That's really not great. Rav will also take an E. I don't know if there's 7s here. I do know that there are some 8s. There's like Well, we're not going to get it, I don't think, but there's like Synedria to an A, but nobody's going to dangle an A in space for me at the moment. There might actually be something here, but the Y is actually kind of in the way. Q is going to completely block off the bottom left. RAV, by the way, so there is a RAV, R-A-V-E-Y. I don't know if there's R-A-V-Y. Ravius, I think, might only go with R-A-V-E-Y. I think one thing we could do is the Y does go here. I don't know if I want to spend the E, though, with... Like, it may actually be a good spot for a fish one, even though there are only really two lanes at the moment, the RAV lane and anything going to the D. And I think that if we just play off one tile, this gets blocked immediately. I do not see that staying open an additional turn. And it's too bad because it means that we would need to go for a play with a duplicate D on the left side here. So we can either go Hey for 18 or take the extra 13 points, but then that gives up the potential E hook on RAV, which is not really great. I think we might just take the points here. Unless there's a better spot for the fish one on the Y. I think we take it. So anyway, done like dinner. Dinner's is not going to go on the right. Endrins, however, Endrins will go. So we have Endrins. I really think that this is going to get blocked, unless my opponent doesn't have anything that can actually foreclose the S. I think that after a fish one, it's pretty obvious what I'm trying to do, and there's only one open lane for sevens. One lane maybe here for eights. That is not going to happen. But if we can get Endrins down, Endrins will go here. But I would say extremely lucky. Like that's a block. But sometimes, with the S-hook, maybe there's not a good way to block it that doesn't give me an S-hook back. And yeah. Does it still fit? Endrins. You know what? GON is good in this lexicon, so it does fit. I'm trying to see if this lets me fit anything else, though. I think we still keep... Yeah, no, I think we still do it. It doesn't change the fit for anything else. Let's just take it. That gets me back most of the way, keeping the... while drawing into the J and the X here, if we can... There's two S's in the bag still remaining for this lane over here. There's no more Y that would go there. There's a D. We don't have any of that stuff at the moment. So, yeah, I mean, likely we'll just be doing small plays like, XIS here, 25 or something like that. We just need to take points where we can take points. If there's a better way to... Oh, yeah, so we can do stuff down here. In fact, Cox is going to hit there for 43. I wish I could have gone J-A-I-O, but the thing is we don't want to give away to J down on the left side. I wish we could play off the J and the I somehow, rather, with the doubled I's there. Actually, yeah, so I'm liking Cox. It's taken. Good game sense from my opponent there to see that was going to be a problem. I think we go XIS. I wish we could turn over more tiles to go for the Rave spot, because I feel like whoever grabs the Rave spot first on the right side is just winning. We do have potentially a C spot over here, notice. And yeah, the J does not really do anything for us on this board. It's very hard to see how to play it off, in fact. I mean, we could just go JA over here, but 2 A's, 1 O unseen, I think it's likely to be hit with something. However, if it isn't, then we've set up Cox a second time. So maybe I go for it. Do we play off O or do we play off A? 2 A's in a bag, 1 O in the bag. Do we risk it? I don't know. I feel like this gets punished. I feel like this gets punished in a big way. But we're behind and I need to take a risk. It's not going to work. It's not going to work at all. Because even if I play Cox on this turn now and I stuck with GIII, Cox for 55, it's going to be blocked. But yeah, that did not work. XIS for 25 is probably the other possibility. 9 in the bag. I feel like my opponent's taking this. And yeah, that's going to be the game, I think. Maybe we shouldn't have gambled on that. I think this is the only play that might make sense here. Unless there's some big setup or something that I can do. We're just not getting it. Look at that, 3 in the bag. My opponent might even just bingo here. There are actually so many ways to potentially just bingo there. With, I don't know, if you look at the pool, if you have like Tetros or something with an SE ending. So yeah, this just flat out didn't work. We'll probably go Mike over here at 23. It's not great. It's not great at all, in fact. But yeah, gambling on JA there was kind of a losing play. Otters. We can't really do anything up top here because FY doesn't take anything. We do have the possibility of doing something with the W up here, just OW, for instance. However, my opponent's going to go out. So 26 up here. Actually, we have both of those plays available if my opponent isn't going out. And they will not take the hay spot, so we can recover some points over here. Probably they'll just go, I don't know, beam or something over here. I don't have an out in 2. There's no way. At least I don't think so. This will probably be the next play up here, unless we have a good way of doing this. I actually don't remember if bid takes the I in front in this lexicon. I think it's actually just the A. Neither of which... Yeah, no. I've actually seen a challenge off before, I think. The I in front. Let's probably just go here. I still can't remember if there's anything that goes in front of org. So I think we just take this, and then my opponent's going to play out. Lots of places just go DE or ED. And that is it. That is the game. Hey, wait. So there was a KEE that didn't get challenged off. Oh, here. I didn't look at it. My opponent went parallel here, and I didn't look at it. And I actually wonder if I challenged it off if I did have a bingo through the T, because that was the rack I was thinking of as a potential bingo. But I didn't solve it in time. It was this one here when I played pole. I feel like there was something with a T in there. Maybe. Anyway, that's an unfortunate loss. But yeah, I completely didn't see the key over there. In fact, I think I saw it go down and I was thinking, oh, it takes an A in front, and I did not even think for a moment about the 3 not being valid. We are being pulled into the next game right away, so we won't have time to look at this one yet. I will, I think, likely grab the sim for it, but since we're just entitled to 5 requests per day for doing the full sim. We'll see if other games are closer or more interesting. This one I feel like had maybe one or two critical turns that failed us here. Anyway, I am looking at this and thinking that this is actually close to something as well. So failing that, I think we maybe just play Goo or Logo or something. Or actually, does Logoi, like Logos Logoi? I'm trying to remember. I think it might, but I don't know if I might be thinking of something else. I think it should. Logoi, then what's the placement? Or we just do Logo with a defensive placement because I have the S hook for it. Let's go with that. Well, and the I hook as well. Anyway, that's not going to help me out here because we have all the doubled vowels now. Otherwise, we'd go down here. So here's the thing. So there's Kadis and there's Cades. Both of them are kind of the equivalent of the word with a Q. Only one of these is good in the North American book, and I cannot remember which one. But they are both good in Collins. But I can never, ever remember which one is which in the other book. Notice that if we... Well, I'm not keeping AAI for 26 points. If we have something that can go over here, I'm trying to see if we can go under the B with anything useful. Either that or we just go Kadi over here for not very many points. Actually, no, hang on. LOD, I think, is good in Collins. 21 points. A little bit better for continuing below, maybe? I don't know. Let's go with that. Okay, we got Venus, natives, whatever else is in there. It is not going anywhere right now. Naivist. Venus, natives with naivist. Vainest. Vainest. I don't really expect that to remain open. However, we actually should continue to look through that R in case we actually have something that would go there. Let me... think about that for a moment. That is... I mean, that's a retina. Hey, there's totally something in there. Oh, that's not going to go. Venus, naivist, natives. Failing anything else, we see if there's a place to fish off the V. Of course, we can't because it would just block everything. I'm trying to see if there is something through the R at the moment. I mean, this here, retina V is nothing, right? I don't think it is. So it's not going to be something V and with the V ending in S. Maybe there isn't anything here. I don't know. So the thing is, though, that even if we fish off the V at this point, there's nowhere to go with it. Like, absolutely nowhere. We can try to open up the right side, perhaps. Just go VAT. trying to see. Oh, wait. Hang on. Bid will take the E, will take the I, and it will take the S. Maybe we just roll the dice on it. Fish one. Oh, no, actually, no, this works because in Collins, VOE takes an E in front. So we actually do open a second lane. This opens a second lane, keeps a lane down here. So fish off one with a V. And we get one of these. Or Antasia down below. Antasia probably. If not, we've got some choices up here. I keep forgetting sometimes that VOE actually does take the front hook. Yeah, Chesponzo, you were asking a few minutes ago which two words. Sorry, I missed that message in chat, and I'm trying to. Oh yeah, no, the ones that I get confused all the time. It's KAID, KADI. Both of these are good in Collins. I cannot for the life of me remember which one is which because one of these is good in NWL and WoW. It's just Kadi? Okay, yeah. I cannot remember. It is. It came up in an overboarded game for me like even just a week or two ago, and I already cannot remember because it's beyond confusing. So we have a couple of possibilities here. No, I think we just go Antasia down below. Let's not mess around. Because I was trying to look at the overlaps with the ST, because you can actually go TAENIAS with the ST on top, but the thing is we're not dangling the triple lane on a left like that. Yeah, and Red Dude, you were saying lol. Could always add an I in front of the P. Oh, yeah, exactly. There's one word that caught me off guard a while ago when I was playing these sessions, which was Napood, Napooed. This Napood is good in Collins, and I learned that the hard way. Okay, so we've got an I spot here for the X. Let's see if we can do something that makes sense here. Probably just go Mux. Unless we can just go Mixie. Ooh, look at that, 61. Keeping the WU combo, though, I don't know if we actually want to go with that. So do we keep the WUR, which is just famously bad, or do we sacrifice 13 points to keep something a little more playable? Although that's consonant heavy. I really don't like keeping the WU, but is it like, are we sacrificing 14? You know what? Actually, this is great because we score 61 and it closes off the S hook on the right. We'll just deal with the W situation. Well, we got what we asked for. We'll just deal with it. Trying to remember if Nettle takes in R. I'm thinking of Netlier, I think. Nettlier. Nettler. I'm kind of 50-50 on that. I don't think I'd do it. Okay, well, that's still going to go down. That's going to dangle a massive S lane underneath as well. However, we can maybe just take the triple. Oddly enough, that CHTW, you can actually potentially see that having some synergies if you draw a vowel. I think we take this and we close off the triple for an S going to the Q. And then we have some more possibilities now. Probably go Chow or something over here. Red'll like that, actually, even though it does kind of open up lanes on top. It's the only thing. Ooh, that's already Spending the other S, opening up an S on the right. I wonder if my opponent was just holding 3 S's or something. This really totally looks like it's smugly opening up for an S. But do we have something that we can just do here for 30? And Chow is still available next turn. Now, it doesn't close off the G dangling an S hook, but it might obstruct slightly. Take some points. I actually kind of like it. Or GIO is better. Actually, maybe not. That's keeping 4 consonants. But it's with a lot of consonants that actually synergize well together, and we have a play next turn if necessary. GIO, yeah, let's take it. Maybe that was a bad idea. We'll probably just go wow up here next turn or something. I don't know, that does open up a bit much. Porch, not keeping TWW. We actually probably should have looked at the pool because I should have noticed there's only 1 O left in the pool at this point. We would have seen 2 O's unseen last turn. So that should have affected the decision a bit, maybe. I'm going to check this one. It's probably right, but I've got to check it. And of course, it is good. Now, I only have 1 vowel here. I can't really do much. But since the score is about even, we should actually open up a little bit. PTW. Well, we have TWP as a word, potentially. Otherwise, maybe CTW. Maybe PE only takes the O in front, though. It doesn't take the E in front, and the E's are more consequential at the moment with 5 E's unseen. None of these leave me a very synergistic leave, to be honest. None of them leave me very much to work with. 30, okay, 32, 33. Just trying to evaluate which leave is less bad. If we keep the C, we have a play above the H, potentially for CH. Let's go with that. Now, too bad we got the V and the W together. Otherwise, maybe this could have had some potential. Maybe we just like this. I don't know, 28. Hard to say no to that. Eventually, if we go NE over here, that's 24. I can't do it on a turn like this with those kinds of tiles rather, still remaining. Also, shouldn't forget about 6s to the T if that becomes relevant later on. Maybe something down here. View, for instance, for 25. Keep CNT. Q would then open up the S spot above it. I actually kind of like view as the play, despite it spending all vowels. Is about half and half vowels and consonants in the bag at the moment. Yeah, chess bones, as we were saying earlier, just K-I-F and L and N in WL. Yeah. K-I is a 3 in Collins. That does come up, so it's useful to know those as hooks as well. The score is actually kind of close at this point. It is a value-heavy bag, lots of duplication potentially. Need to not give up massive spots for Z or J. I really do think view is looking like the play. One blank still up for grabs. This opens up an S hook above. And then, of course, D endings, S endings still available up over here. Still thinking about Nettler. It might be. Maybe I'm thinking of Nettier. I'm definitely thinking of Netlier, which is good. But we'll see. I don't think I tried it myself. Oh, ZE. That closes off the view idea, unfortunately. 36 over there. However, go TC over here. That's such an ugly leave, though. It's so ugly. Like it scores, it's competitive, but it's just so hideous. Vet over here, and then it's only 14 though. Does get us out of a little bit of trouble. Let's see. What about under to Z? Just vet under to Z for 25. That does kind of close off any CH idea up top. But maybe that's okay. Maybe we go even a little harder and go vent. Because the N's not doing too much for me there. The WI is just so dreadful. Let's take it. I am trying to see if there actually could have been something up here. We're feeling vowel heavy, for example, CIAO rather, actually does go. That looks nice, in fact. That really doesn't look like a bad play. It does potentially leave a J-bomb over the O, going over to the right. That's maybe the only reservation about it. Oh, and it's taken. I think we just go vow for 27. Take the points. It still keeps us competitive. Nothing's going to go over that J. It is not a bingo board. Except, you know what? Smug doesn't even take an S on the right. What was I saying? Like earlier, I was thinking, oh, this totally opens up an S spot on the right. No, it doesn't. It's smug. It's an adjective. I only just noticed that was not a lane. Whoops. Let's just take vow. So yeah, actually, this is not a bingo board at all, even with the one blank remaining. Because you can't fit anything to the right to that V. Bonier is not going to take anything to the right. Smug doesn't take anything to the right, despite what I thought. And yeah, Rad Dude, there's no DC. By the way, speaking of which, if we just go two vowels over here for fade, that actually does take that spot. I mean, we do have it's not the case N, but we have an N available for 24 over here on the right of the Q. Maybe we should actually just take that while it's available. The C's are a bit of an obstruction at this point in the game because it is late game on a board where the C's don't have a natural place to go, and so I don't want to get stuck with them. So I'm kind of reluctant to be keeping two C's if we can get rid of something somehow. 8 vowels, 10 consonants, 12 in a bag. We'll see. I think we take one of the two 20-point plays. Oh, it was taken with a Y. That's terrible. I think we just have to take this for 24 and then just stay even. But the C is such a problem at the moment, and I don't have a very natural way to deal with it. I think we have to take this. And then now I'm really going to be stuck. Maybe just go vice or something on the right. Vicing? Or, oh, we don't have a second I. Oh, that's only 10 points. Yeah, I don't know what to do with these C's. They're really in the way. And 8 in the bag's going to be frozen next turn. And despite how even we look, I'm not in a great spot. D or S are still available next to Nettle, and at this point, I don't think I expect to get them. If we had case S, dumping a C up here to set up scape up top would be a possibility. That's something we should keep an eye on in the event that we have a C and an S going on. But yeah, right now, that's looking a little rough. I could go vice, could go vice down here. I don't know. We're not spending all the vowels that way. Burl. Okay. Do we have something? Icing. 5 in a bag. This leaves 1 in a bag. It's very vowel heavy, but it gets us out of trouble. There's nothing that's going to go past the I that we're concerned about. It's really just a D that's going to go past the I, so that's fine. I do not see a 7, but let's consider this a little further. I'm not sure I would see an 8 either through N or G, but let's be diligent about it. Yeah, I don't think so. I am looking at the G, but with G in that position, I don't think so. So we got to assume at this point, well, if my opponent doesn't have the S this turn, he's going to have it next turn, or we'll see what's going on. I don't have enough time to really map this endgame properly, and it's the kind of endgame that I think might actually have to be mapped. Unfortunately, not having the S, we can't really go for the escape idea. We have to maybe take some points where they exist, like 14 points under the ZE over there, or... Oh, goodness me. This is probably good, but we have to challenge in this kind of situation. And that's the game. That's just a game, I think, unless I see a triple through the R or something. Let's actually take a look at that R up top. I don't think so. So close to hurricane or something, but yeah. Oh, I don't see it as happening. Well, I got 3 minutes to look at it. Um, yeah, I don't think so. I think we might just have to go Carnier or something and take some points and lose gracefully. Sturdy. Let's take a look at the UN starts. Also see if there's anything. We'll play that H. Reincur. No, I would have seen that, I think. Reincur. Maybe. No, I'm thinking probably reoccur. I have to think about the alphagram for a moment. I mean, it doesn't make a difference, though. So, like, because my opponent takes the A spot there anyway, or it takes the U somewhere else. Lots of outs available. Will not be able to block. Oh, it's my time that's down. I was totally watching my opponent's time. I was thinking, oh, I've got 3 minutes left. No, I have 7 seconds left. Whoops. I was totally not watching my clock. I was watching the wrong clock, rather. Should have noticed that I wasn't going down. MSP Chicken, we'll see if I actually have time to slip in a quick reading here between games. Give me 1 moment, and I'll see if we can do it. So, yeah, unfortunately took a loss over there on this one as well. I mean, we just lost to bingo at the end. That's a Ragads, or whatever it is. Cracks in the skin. Interesting. Okay, let's try to slip in a quick reading since you requested it. And since it might describe the game. Okay. William Shakespeare, sonnet number 48. How careful was I when I took my way, each trifle under truest bars to thrust, that to my use it might and use it stay from hands of falsehood in sure wards of trust. But thou, to whom my jewels trifles are, most worthy comfort, now my greatest grief, thou best of dearest and mine only care, art left the prey of every vulgar thief. Thee have I not locked up in any chest, save where thou art not, though I feel thou art, within the gentle closure of my breast, from whence at pleasure thou mayst come in part, and even thence thou wilt be stolen, I fear, for truth proves thievish for a prize so dear. Yeah, Red Dude, you thought with DC much earlier, like maybe batteries. In general, you don't really see abbreviations available unless they have become acronyms that people say as a word. But with Scrabble, you do sometimes see some weird edge cases here and there. Let me see. Need to update a record here. Since we're on 2 losses, and we'll be pulled into the next round pretty soon, I think. And yeah, we'll get into the next round when we're able. Since I'm not being pulled in just yet, we'll take a quick look at any missed plays here. Kaboom! And thank you so much for the sub. Very glad to have you back on board. Now let's see. Since I'm not being dragged into the next round just yet, let's see if there was anything critical here we should have looked at. Venations I missed. Oh, Venations has a 9. Look at that. That's beautiful. I really need to get into the habit of looking properly at 9s. Because that was just a case of not looking. It's the only available bingo is none. And it's one that I should have been able to see if I had bothered to look. Nettle. Oh, yeah, we didn't see whether Nettle takes the R. Nettler. Yeah, Nettler is one that nettles. Oh, that's such a common 7. I should have remembered that for sure. Yeah, Mixie over there. We are being pulled into the next game in just a moment. And as you can see, my opponent actually is continuing to try to set up the S every single turn. And this starts to close things off. What even is this? Day Teller. Day Laborer. Oh, we should have gone WHOW. I don't know why I blanked on that. Of course. Totally blanked on it. Where was which? Oh, just up there. Okay. Wow, Trijet was available. Oh. And no, that's my opponent's rack with Y. And then, well, after that, we just straight up lose. We just lose to the bingo at the end. Not much we can do. Let's go to the next game. I will be first. I think we will probably exchange rather than play through it. Keep DIT or change more like 6 or 7? I think, unless, yeah, I don't see a good vowel dump here with 3 I's. Let's throw in IAKU. Okay. Now, we have like wilted. I actually kind of like that. Wilted keeping ET. I don't think it takes anything in front. Let me just take a look at this quickly to make sure I am not missing something that hits both doubles. Wilted or dwelt, if we want to keep ITE. I think we just go wilted. The E is in kind of a vulnerable spot, though. Keep ITE, sacrifice 2 points, be more defensive. Yeah, sure. Now, this should potentially give us some 8s. I'm trying to see if there's anything through the N. Or even through the other T. If we can hit one of the triples with the F, that would be good. Just going to take a look at this for a moment. So yeah, Miesby Chicken, I am playing on the online service that's the most popular one among competitive players. So as you can see with the numbers on the right, we do have ratings. The ratings are for just this website, though. I do have an over-the-board tournament rating as well, but the over-the-board tournament ratings for everybody are a little bit lower than what you see here, just given a different formula and field. Okay, I have to think about this. Let's just go OF down here. Keep IEST. The B is going to remain wide open. All right, this is definitely something. I see a couple through the T. There's like eyelets and all that. This should be a 7. Really? Let's see. Anyway, the one I saw was let's. There's something else in there too. Let's take a look at the B up top. Actually, there should be something. There's got to be something there. There has to be something there. Oh, it looks so familiar. It's gonna bother me. There should be a bunch through the N as well. How am I not able to see this stuff? This is something that should be easy. And there's something else in here too. Let me just see. We should also look at the P. I don't think so, because I think the only thing with a P is I see like appellates. And appellate doesn't take an S. Appellate doesn't take an S. It's a kind of common error. So I'm trying to see if like we have something better here. Is there seriously no 7 in this? Let me think. Anyway, let's not sweat it too much. Let's just take what we know. Let's over here, or we move it up 1 spot. And then have the A next to the doubles, but the S not on the double lane. Well, we're floating a ton of tiles either way, so. Islets or Aliettes? Islets, I think. Let's do it. I might be wrong, actually. I should have. Islets. Where was it? Aliet? No, it's Islets. Islets. I mean, SB Chicken, would I be considered a good Scrabble player? Well, by tournament standards, I'm kind of sort of middle to high intermediate. Like maybe, I don't know, 70th to 80th percentile or so, I think. Ending. I mean, I haven't played enough tournaments recently to be sure. But that's by tournament player standards. And the thing is, the skill level of this game goes extremely high. And there are many players who are significantly better than I am. I'm trying to see here if we can do something about getting rid of the V and the U, perhaps. Something like bruvs for 20. I kind of like that. I mean, we're not taking advantage of the E spot under Jiver, but I think we need to get rid of some of this stuff. I actually don't even know if bruv takes an S. It should. But the V is going to obstruct any parallels over to U, so we don't need to worry about that. A little bit vowel heavy on this rack, if we can get out of trouble. Oh, that's too bad. Treason is like something to do with treason, like it's French, I think. I think we might just go Dune. I don't like keeping EIO, so if we can go maybe something starting with a vowel. We can't quite fit Odeon. EUOI will not fit. I'm trying to see if we can do something that'll drop more vowels here. Actually, hang on. Before I do that, we should make sure I don't have an 8 to something like the S or the N. Very close to something like Adonius, but not quite. Too many vowels. I think we just have to take Dune 36 and then we keep it even. So close to something like azetize, but no real big hit that we're going to score with the Z here. And a takey over here. Actually, well, I mean, now we can go azetize, but I'm not burning this S on that. Azotize for 48. I don't think we're burning the S on that, but actually, let's consider that. It might not be as bad as I think it is. I think TOZE is good in this lexicon as well, but a Z is in a spot that is going to have some pretty massive counterplay. Oh, we need to see if I can do something through here. ZOAEA. There we go. Zoea. It does take an extra E on the bottom. And the ZOAE, like the AE order is only in colons. It is a very confusing set because there are a whole bunch of additional spellings in this lexicon that are not in the other one. I think we take it. Because like ZOEAEA, ZOAEA, ZOEA. Also, this is a beautiful rack that we have here. I might actually be able to do something. And yeah, again, it just takes the E in front. There is the NO spot for the X. I am trying to see if there is something like a... We don't really have a good spot for 7s. I am looking off the P, actually. We're so close to something like peroxides or something like that. Because the thing is, this rack has a whole bunch of 8s. It does, in fact, give you some 8s, I'm pretty sure. But I don't think we have them. So we should go either EX over here, 54, XI over here. Would it... EX over here dumps to E. That's the only thing with 3 E's in a bag. But then there's no further play off of the X to worry about after that. Let's not burn so much time. Let's just take it. And we have Soapier. Soapier's not going to go anywhere at the moment. Or actually, no. Let's not speak too soon. It is going to go under the BY. Soapier over here. And I think we just take it. I don't see another spot. I am still looking at the P on the top left because that looks like it has potential. Also, you can do things like plebeian coming off of the pleb if you have the N for it later on. I think we just go Soapier. We have a very charming rack down here. Yeah, Mia's Chicken. I don't know if you're asking about the online ratings or the over-the-board ratings when it comes to range. So with the online rating formula, when you first sign up to this website, Woogles, it starts you out at about 1,500. The group that I play with is pretty much around 2,000 and up. That generally correlates to the over-the-board tournament rating. Well, there are a few different systems, like there's an international rating and North American ratings, etc., but they're similar. For those, the median player is kind of around closer to 1,200, I would say. The top experts are the ones who are north of 2,000. There are very few of them. Like we're talking a couple dozen people in the world. But then the people who are kind of around 2,000-ish on this service, their over-the-board rating is usually kind of in the 1,500 to 1,700 range, I would say, at estimate. If you want to look at what the over the board equivalent would be. That seems about right, anyway. Now, let's see what we can do here with this. Now, QI is going to take an N on the right. 2 blanks still available, by the way. That looks like it's going to be a very volatile situation. Going into late game with me only 50 ahead. We should, in fact, start to close off on the right side here. As much as I don't want to keep AA, this takes you down to 8 in the bag, so there's still enough pace for 2 bingos. After that QI small play kind of signals to me my opponent's trying to do something. I feel like there's still a possibility of a bingo going underneath this, but I think we just have to take it. Okay, so we will in fact have 1 blank. I am still looking at the P. This is absolutely a lane. This is potentially a lane. Those are the only lanes that are really in play at the moment. If we can undouble a little bit, we have to make our decision based on how many tiles are in the bag. We should probably avoid emptying the bag, and we might actually be able to draw into something with bingo potential. From what I can see currently, I mean, GONYS. It's probably fine, but I should check that because I don't know it. There's no GONY. This is one of those that would only have the YS ending, perhaps. I feel like my opponent's probably pretty confident about that, but it's safe to check. It is good. Okay, so 3 in the bag. If we play off the TA somewhere, then we undouble, we keep 1 in the bag, and then we have the possibility of a bingo draw. I need to find a way to do it that does not close off either. Well, the bottom lane's not a great lane with what I'm holding now because the AR doesn't take very much below it. So this would pretty much be going for the P lane. I mean, I'm ahead. We don't want to, dangle a massive opportunity, but I want to be in an okay position in case my opponent bingos and we have a possibility of a bingo out. But this is not likely to be a good fit under the soapier spot. Then we put 1 in the bag, and then I think we have to undouble, though. I think that's the only thing that makes sense. TA over there. There's also the Taj spot up here for 13. That's a little less. So we want to score with a T and A in a way that is out of the way and not really going to get in the way. We also need to make sure. So there is a little bit of a risk here with something like a big F play going to the right. That may actually be a reason to go like this, because that actually opens up more possibilities for putting a bingo underneath with something like O under tar. Actually, A under tar as well. In this lexicon, both Tara and Taro are good. Actually, I like this. I like this because you kill the F threat underneath and you give yourself a second lane. I do not think we have something, but let's take a look just in case. Oh, I totally forgot about the ING threat over here. But with only a U to go with that, I don't think it's happening for my opponent. I don't see it anyway. I totally forgot to look at that, though. That was a bit of a blind spot there. Because if you're playing something like this, right, and if you're the player who's behind, the trailing G, if you've got IN blank still hanging around, is actually one of the bigger bingo threats. Yeah, so MSB Chicken over the board. I'm kind of over 1500-ish, but that isn't very up to date, I guess. So Fungoid is going to, well, I gave that one away. I have to challenge it just in case, but I think it's good. Yeah, it's good. And oh, well, we blew this one. Yeah, no, I shouldn't have opened that. I was so concerned about an F play being a big like 5-tile F play over here that I didn't think that this beautiful overlap would actually go down. Well, then with the 2 minutes remaining, we do need to see if we have something off the P on the top left, because that's the only real possibility at this point. Oh, that's too bad. This one we have to see in the sim, I think, because given the information I had, did we give away too much there with this spot? I really didn't think, looking at the pool, that that would be more friendly to my opponent than it would be to me. That's too bad. Yeah, so I play in local clubs, not in rated tournaments, on a fairly regular basis when it comes to over the board. I haven't played a rated tournament since last year because I just haven't been able to travel for one recently. Yeah, I can't even see what an optimal one would be here. Maybe there's something off the eye. I don't think so. Too many problems. I don't have enough time to look at this. Maybe there's something. Maybe there's something and I'm just missing it. Pool something, maybe. Pool. Maybe there's something, but I don't see it. Let's just dump some tiles. I don't see. Yeah, I didn't have enough time to look at like an optimal sequence or something because we're losing anyway if we don't find a play. So it looks like we're going 0-3 today for the start. So, Maybe a Chicken, I've been playing for quite a long time, but with a pretty big absence in between. So I actually first played a tournament, well, quite a long time ago, but then had many years when I was away from the game. So yeah, too bad. We just lost a Fungoid here. I absolutely have to request a sim for this one. I think it's just one of those games. So we're going to start with an 0-3 today, which is too bad. I mean, this has been very tough opposition. And yeah, all words on this board are valid. So let me just see. We'll just step through the available plays quickly here in case I miss something big, but we will definitely want to do a postmortem on this one because, I mean, we just straight up lost to my opponent getting Fungoid, but... Oh, so the Wilted actually does take a T in front. I did not know that. So had we played Wilted, we would have totally put ourselves in a worse situation there, but unfortunately I didn't know it. It's wilted. Let's see if it's in both lexica. It's Collins only. So I guess if we played wilted and just set up a T play out of that or something, I don't know. So yeah, I didn't have anything on this rack, just oaf. We played it. So I let's in either spot is the only bingo. I thought there might be something else, but no. We found the only play. Did not score very much. In general, we were finding the equity plays. So yeah, consider both of these XI, EX. I mean, this is much more favorable to the leave. I guess I was concerned about follow-ups underneath that we couldn't take advantage of. Soapier goes. Where was the HA spot? Oh yeah, so that's still available. I was thinking at this point that we would close off Lanesdow. What even is this? The ridge along and towards the tip of the lower mandible formed by the junction of its two halves. Rami, as in gulls. So yeah, this is a singular, and there's also gonyses, Gonyses. Very interesting. I have to do a lexicon check on this one as well, I think. Yeah, gonyses. So yeah, no bingo on this turn for me. Funding and fungoid go down there. And I have nothing. I didn't draw to anything here. I would have been about 50-50 on fungoid taking it as a lot of the OID or ATE endings that often refer to biological specimens or chemicals or whatever. Sometimes they're adjectives and sometimes they're nouns, and it's very difficult to tell them apart. So, didn't see that play there, but so, yeah, we basically just lost this to the fungoid play. And I don't know that we could have done much differently. But we'll look at a sim for that to find out. And yeah, you're going to work on some Magic the Gathering deck building. Have a fun time with that. We'll see when we get pulled into the next round here. Yeah, I'm glad to have you back as always, and thank you so much for the resub once more. Since I'm here, and since we haven't been pulled into the next game yet, we could step through some plays in round one, perhaps, while we're still waiting. Yeah, it's too bad. Just some rough situations today with the games here. So this was round one earlier on. We didn't get a chance to look at the plays. Because after I deliberately closed off the board like this, I think both players were very stuck. Look at that valid draw from my opponent. Ooh, missed ropeable. That's double here. Big miss. Snake pit available for my opponent. Didn't see it though, and opponent here in a way that I just didn't see. Troll would have been a fit. So it would have been possible to continue here. Yeah, okay, I can see the case for that play. I was trying to look for a spot for IURE, but I don't think I would have played it in a spot like that. If you sim it, it's not going to do well. Giving away that many points back. Ordinary Winnie was also available down here. It doesn't open up too much. Double R's. Sometimes a bit of an issue. Oh yeah, so this play here, we really picked the wrong one because this dangled the A and E hook in front and left it up for grabs. So this felt like a bad move. And look at that, a lot of possibilities for my opponent here as well. Epilogue, Pilius. Went for the quick and easy vowel dump in front of Ezine. So yeah, this was the play where I was considering maybe we should have gone Shiv. Flaggers. Ooh, look at this case load over here. So we got away with a lot of stuff in some ways where my opponent was missing plays, and finally we get entrance down. Then we're still playing catch up for the rest of the game. So yeah, so this might have been a losing play here that I was hoping to set up the X. I mean, given what my opponent has, this probably would have been great either. Giving way to J like that. Given the nature of this endgame, I think we might want to request a sim for this one as well. So we still don't have the pairing for round 4 yet, which is why we're taking a moment to look. Take a look at the ending here. There was not that many possibilities. So yeah, maybe we should request this one because there were some critical turns. So the thing is, I'm playing 6 rounds, but I'm limited to 5 requests for the full computer analysis per day. And so I do have to be a little bit choosy, but all 3 of the games seem to have critical losing moments so far that worth looking at. So let's see what's going on. I don't know why we're not called into the next round yet. There might be a pair still playing. If there is, we'll see what's going on. Them. So it looks like there might have been an unexpected dropout or something, and some pairings might have been manually adjusted. So that's why there's a bit of a delay. That's not in our group necessarily, but I think there was a bit of an issue in the other 2 groups with people tapping out. So the tournament director is a little bit busy, it seems, and we're just behind a little bit. Okay, no, round 4, here we go. Okay, so on a bit of a slump today, but we'll see if we can get our first win of the day. We'll be going second, the V and W together. Already not promising. But let's see what happens. Probably we're just going to play off Vow or Vaw somewhere as they become available, but of course they're not going to go with the U or the I at all when it comes to placement. So what do we do here? Probably we can go Vow over here, and it leaves me a Vow to the left. Maybe. Such a dreadful play, but I don't actually see very many good possibilities other than that. I think we'll go with that. Is there something that is a bingo here? Let's take a look at this because there might be something through the eye. Let's make sure I've looked at it. Maybe even through the O. Pronated. There's pronated. There might be something else in there, actually. I don't know if that will... Oh, no, that won't remain open. And yeah, none of the other... Oh, wait, no. We have a bingo from the U. We have unparted. Unparted. That's got to be right. Like if your hair is unparted. I think we go for it. And then just dangle a D in a bit of a dangerous spot, but actually D in kind of 7th position might not be too bad in terms of triples or anything, but we'll see. Probably we go beg up top here for 22 if it's still available. I don't really expect the D to stay open down here. I should be a little more diligent about seeing if we have something even better with this draw, but the B and the G together might just get in the way sometimes, so... But I should take a look at things like whether there's anything through the R. Yeah, there might be some 8s in this. I just don't see anything promising at the moment. Wow, look at that. Well, we can't do very much down there, even with the having the placements. I think we just go bag up top still. Or no, we can go badge down here. That's better. Badge 27 and we take it out. And we open more lanes. Okay. Yeah, I thought something might go to the top spot eventually. Tolerant from the T or tetronal. Tolerant doesn't take an S, and I actually am not sure about tetronal, so we'll probably just go tolerant. Let me make sure there's nothing better through the top with anything through handy. It's like ornately to the Y, which doesn't fit. There's also the A hook next to a vowel, which I totally forgot about despite mentioning it earlier. I don't know that there are actually 7s in this rack, though. I think this is one of those famous non-7 racks. Should also see if there's any 8 through the A in unparted. There might be. I think we just go tolerant. Now, lots of possibilities with his Z. Z goes very nicely here or here. So we'll have a decent Z play for sure. Again, we should probably hang on to the A for the avow spots if we're able to do so. So likely we'll just play off a ZO somewhere. That's going to score over 40. And then we'll just see what my opponent does here. Finally getting some cooperative draws today. Tawniest. Yeah, okay, so big catch-up play over there. We will just have to play to set up top. I don't like keeping the U, but we don't have much of a choice. We have to take the points. Notice that the ZO will continue to take something like an A on the right if we want to play through it. There's something that can go through here. Priority should just be to get rid of the M, or do a big vowel dump, like do one of the meow spellings. If we can actually do it. Q, QUAI for 19, that works. Although it does kill the vow idea on the left side, it's the only thing. Single Q play. I mean, it scores 31, so that doesn't tell us much. Except that my opponent likely doesn't have a U or something. But let's see here, because I mean, or maybe we could just work it over here for 20 and dump all that stuff. Doesn't really open up much. I think we play for balance here, even though we are giving up on the A hook. Maybe. I feel like we can do a lot better here. I think we have to take it. Oh, wait. What did I do? Oh, no, I accidentally played UE. I didn't even look at it. Totally misclicked that. And of course, my opponent takes the A spot in the left. Oh, okay, we were punished for that. Totally did not look at it properly. Yeah, oh, what a goof. That was terrible. Oh, that was terrible. And then now we're in big trouble. Yeah. What a mistake. Like a game losing mistake there. Did not even look at the UE. This doesn't open up anything for me on the left. We're in really, really big trouble. That doesn't open up anything. I have to figure out how to maybe crack open a lane on the left side. But keeping OUS, I don't know about that. Well, because the eagerly spot right now is no longer kind of a useful lane. So the thing is, we just got nowhere to go anymore. Hmm. Yeah, okay. So anyway, I'm a little bit tilted after the mistake. Let's get our head back in the game here. Two vowel heavy, we go like this. Not quite long enough. And Arlen, welcome. Let's go EUOI over here. Maybe that resolves some problems. Actually, no, now we're too consonant heavy. Thank you for the space raid. And I see it's been a ROM hack day over there. I hope that's been a lot of fun, as usual. We just have to go jams over here, but see if we can just open up some space. 25 up here. Keeping NST, yeah, because normally, otherwise we just take jams 39. We need to open up more space, otherwise we're not going to do a single thing here. That only really opens up the top lane from the F. That doesn't really give us much. Not liking it. Should be able to do better than this. This is lentils, but lentils is not going to go anywhere at the moment. It's just not going to fit. Maybe there's something through the A. Let's take a look at this carefully. We might actually have something, but have to see. And yeah, you're really enjoying the Kaizo Sundays over there. That's great to hear. We're having some pretty bad games here today, actually. I've lost 3 in a row, and I just made like a game-losing mistake and mistyped something earlier, but trying not to get too tilted from that. I feel like there might be something here through the A. Up top in farm. Otherwise, we're kind of stuck. If I can get something down to the right. I'm going to try something here. What if we just go 7 and set up a volatile spot up top? That seems silly. That seems really silly, actually. There's so much stuff that my opponent could just dump there. Oh, I'm so far down on time, too. This is not great. This is not great at all. Okay, how about... See, the frustrating thing is that, like, I really get a feeling there's something through A. 10 points there. Yeah, I'm so far down in time too. Ill like that. And then, well, but then we no longer have the L for laying up on top. That's okay. No, this might be fine because it'll give us ENST as an ending. Let's do it. It does take. There's no more Y in the bag, so that was not going to be a factor over here. I'm not going to have anything. Nothing fits. Like Mincy or something. No, it doesn't fit. I'm trying to see if there's something from the A. Up top, I see amnestic, like amnesty. Oh, actually, that fits, doesn't it? Because it goes with amicance and something else. That's got to be right. We have to try it. I'm so far behind at this point. Oh, 6 in the bag. I don't see it come back. The H is going to go under C if we manage to draw into something. A lot in the pool actually looks pretty promising right now, except for that U and V. So if we can manage to get rid of some of the clunk, maybe we can draw into something. But with 3 in a bag, the possibilities are pretty limited because it's hard to shed several of the difficult tiles here at once. So, for example, we're playing out 2. There's something like Haku, which may or may not have to do with Haiku. But that U doesn't give us any space to work with. Right now, the only real land is an H start over here, which is pretty unlikely. So we might be going 0-4 today as the start. That's really dreadful. But anyway, my turn. Uraic goes down. 2 in the bag. That doesn't really give us much to work with. Very, very consonant heavy. Very consonant heavy. I don't know. We basically would need to play off consonants only. And still have something to work with. I don't really see it happening. I just go Haku anyway. Well, that doesn't work because nothing goes over the U. We don't have anything to go with it. I've got absolutely nothing. Okay, I'm out of time. Yeah, let's just take it. Yeah, unfortunately, I just couldn't shed the B as well because we actually have otherwise an almost reasonable rack here with just maybe 1 tile difference. Like without the B, we actually might have something, but needed to go with something off of the H. Doesn't look like it's happening, so well, let's see what happens. Probably, I mean, I think my opponent's probably going to take the S spot over here first, but we'll see. Because my opponent is also technically sitting on a bingo rack if they had some space for it. which they don't. Something like vesting. But yeah, Viggs is just going to go down. I really have nothing I can do, really. We can just go Shire or 19 or... even just HE over here. And then that would give me birds, but the thing is my opponent is just going to play out at this point, so we can't even make use of that setup. Let's just go hired, maybe. 23. Maybe there was a better play there, but this is a loss at this point, so... cannot do anything against blank NT. So yeah, this was miserable. It was entirely just that one mistake. Because I played here not realizing that I accidentally made UE, which is not a word. And my other choice was to play over here, which if I had done it, I would have blocked eagerly. That turns the entire game. So just one critical misplay blew the entire thing. It's just an absolutely dreadful mistake. Oh well. And we lost so much time from just stressing out over it too, so that's a loss. Yeah. Anyway, let's take a look at this one quickly. I am kind of wondering if we missed something on this turn that would have been a comeback play. But we are on an 0-4 start today. I haven't had one this bad in a while, actually, but it's been a tough field today. Now we've made some bad plays here and there. Didn't see DOWP as a beautiful overlap, actually. Wonderful overlap with that one. Would have solved so many problems. And parted was the only bingo there. We got it. I missed Abnegate. Hard one to see. Hard one to see. I was trying to see if there was anything starting with AB, but we just didn't catch it. And badge looked reasonable, and we just kind of jumped on getting rid of the BEG. Tetronal or tolerant. I actually don't know if tetronal takes an S. It does. Tetronal, maybe. Tetronal. I'm not sure. But tolerant, I knew, would not take the S on the end, so we went with that. And yeah, we'll be pulled into the next round in just a moment, but let's just do a quick inspection. So totally blew it on display, just so bad. And eagerly goes down. I was looking for a meow spot. Meagerly, I didn't even think about meagerly. I don't know if we wanted to corner off that much space there because it kind of keeps us behind, but I did not at any point think about the M front hook on eagerly. Huge blind spot there. There would have been so many tactical possibilities had we seen it. So yeah, farm has a high scoring spot over here, but I was trying to open up space at this point. Yeah, amnestic is the only bingo there. Buick. Well, I mean, this would give up the game anyway at this point because that empties the bag with too few tiles. So none of that would have worked. So yeah, just one critical turning point. That's too bad. And yeah, Smudge, if you need to take off, that's perfectly fine. Have a wonderful time. And thank you so much for coming along with the Space Raid. Just waiting for my opponent for the next round at the moment. We'll see if anything's going on. And we'll just see what we're waiting on. I did say I'm ready. Let's see what happens. Yeah, as usual, a little bit of delay while some of the other groups get sorted out because they had some issues with players dropping out, which we also experienced last week when we played with this group. So it's kind of unfortunate. Not everybody respects the tournament procedure when they're playing online, but yeah, I'm kind of clearly at the bottom today, the only person in my group on 0-4, but missed some very clear opportunities, and then sometimes we just got a bad draw at the very end, so it was kind of half and half when it comes to our fortunes today, but we could be playing a lot better. Anyway, we will have quints or cubit. Actually, cubit would be better right off the bat. Keeping the NY instead of the BY. Even if the I is a little bit more exposed. Bevy is going to go down. I might even just go NY over here. For 20. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, we probably should have tried to play off more tiles, but Virago is very nice. There's no SA, so I can't go under that. There's no GA, so I can't go under that. Let's see what we can do here. If we... Yeah, it's hard to parallel under this, actually, with what I'm holding at the moment. I mean, you can have something like fat, and keeping LLNS, that's terrible. Maybe just go 18 over here, and I should look a bit more carefully at whether there was something through the O or the E on the right side, but... Or we could go fell. That kind of blocks the S, though. But it gives me a much better leave, and the thing about fell is that it does take the A underneath. So maybe that's what we need, and it still gives us something like an ES ending on the Virago's side. This is stuff like contains. It doesn't fit currently. Constant to a T. Constant. Actually, we'll just go to the T on Qubit. We'll see if it stays open. I do not see anything like a 7 that would go in a spot like the fella spot we talked about. But if constant remains open, we just jump on it. So we'll see, because unless there's something like my opponent's either scoring off the I or bingoing himself, constant probably should remain open. It's not the most promising spot unless you do have a big play that fits there and exactly there. And my opponent just played off 7, so it is a random draw, so we don't know and can't really infer anything about what's going on. If constant is blocked, we would be looking for something like an I for contains, or I'm trying to think, like, is it conates through an E? It should be. Unless I'm thinking of something else. Okay, constant is going to go. AUA, I think, takes an S, but I'm actually not completely sure because there's like AUA, AIE, AUE. Some of them take an S and AUE does not, I'm pretty sure. But we'll take constant. AUA also takes a P in front, but that shouldn't be too consequential here. So yeah, big vowel dump from my opponent's side, showing that having some trouble there. But I'm likely going something like WEE here for 18, or EWE might be better. That J hits for 37. Okay, pretty hard, but not recoverable. I think that this works better for the WEE. Wheel, what is spelling, I believe, is good. Yeah, let's take that. 35. Dumps the same tiles. Nepotis, very nice. And so I find myself behind again. Too bad about the V. We're so close to something like in curves. But just a little bit off of what we need. I actually kind of like Hive over here, in spite of the fact that I'd prefer not to get rid of the E. But I do want to dump the V for sure, so this kind of keeps us in play when it comes to the scoring. If we have an option that doesn't require me to dump that, there's Viney for 20 over here. It gives us a slightly better lead, perhaps. Yeah, too bad. The C up top is so promising with the H. If we just got rid of the V and the U, I think we should just go for this scoring. Unless, is there something with over as a prefix? Over? No, there isn't. I think we have to take it. Uridine do an E if we can dump off a ton of stuff, but it's not going to go with the board in its current state. Maybe just inured up here. 18. Let me make sure. Yeah, it is not a very promising route, but that gets you out of a bit of trouble. Okay, that is going to be a whiz up top for 38. I'm 50 behind now, which is not great. And we can't just go XI down here. It's pretty vulnerable to an E play down below to continue that, though. So, however, we actually do have this spot up here. HOX for 46. I think that's actually got to be to play. I don't see anything that compares to it. And yeah, that was going to go down at some point. D-germs and hours. I think that's got to be right, but we have to check it. It's good. I think we need to open up some space here. Maybe go like admit. Stretch all the way out. Also, hang on, let's make sure we don't have anything going to the C up top with like an IC ending, IC ending. So close to dramatic. So close to dramatic. And yeah, Joseph, welcome. As you can see, we're on an 0-4 record today. And one of those losses was because I very carelessly played a phony 2 in the last game. and just absolutely blew it on a big swing. But that happens. It's Scrabble. I have to deal with it. So instead of admit, maybe we go MIDI over here. Dangle that M like crazy. Keep TAR. That might be more promising, perhaps. I am trying to see if there is something going to the C up top. I don't see it. Yeah, we have to take a risk here, I think, and just stretch out. This is close to something. Hang on. There might actually be something through the C here. It's like creator plus an R. Or O create plus an R. Yeah, obviously that was going to be taken by val dump. It's too bad about the double R because I feel like we're actually close to something through the C up top. We need to make more room. Maybe undouble over here. UR is going to give us an E hook underneath. It is a bit of a vowel heavy draw, but we need to create some situations that are actually playable here. I feel like this is going to be hit hard. Actually, no, because AE doesn't take anything at the end, so this isn't even going to give us problems. I think that's got to be the play. I do have the sense that we're missing something through the C up top, but at least keeping both the T and the R, we still have lanes off the U. Like, we can keep it nice and volatile, even though I'm about 100 behind, and we'll probably need to hit the triple to have a realistic chance here. I believe Troted is good. Yeah, UR is going to take the D on the end, so Troted will work on both sides. There might actually be something else. Yeah, that's too bad. That's going to be it. There is 7 in the bag, and the blank and S and T available and all that. So obviously, after one bingo here, the only lane left is going to be the C up top. And that's okay. However, actually, you know what? A torn fits here. That's 81, and then it keeps all remaining lanes open. That's a nice fit, actually. I think we definitely take that. We take a torn over there for 81, and then we still have the U that will take stuff like the S and the T on the right. And maybe we have a long shot bingo draw, and it's not going to go. And in fact, I think my opponent's going to do this. He's going to hit soilage and bingo out. Ah, well. 0-5 it is. 0-5 it is. Ah, well. Calculated risk. I mean, you know, I could have very well been the one to join that, to draw into that instead. So the phony was UE, because I played off a bunch of vowels next to a Q and I didn't look at the U. The C line. So famously, C line used to be a phony. It goes with anisole, A-N-I-S-O-L-E, but C line has actually now been added to the lexicon because of the internet behavior of being a C line to somebody else on social media. But 0-5 today. Our worst day here in a while, in spite of the fact that the games have actually been really good. They've been high quality. But we've been in a lot of these situations where my opponent gets the bingo draw like sometime in the last 2 or 3 turns of the game, and then we just lose to that. So, it's too bad. I mean, I had to kind of take the risk of drawing into a potential comeback play. I think that's still the right play to go a torn up here with the information I have, but sometimes you just straight up lose. And that's what happens. Oh, I totally forgot to pass at the end. So we lose by even more. Okay, winless today. Now, I've never gone completely winless on any of these sessions, but the thing is, you know, it's a tough group, and an 0-6 could absolutely happen today. But they've been interesting games. They haven't been blowouts, in spite of the score line at the very end. It's usually some critical mistake that lets my opponent just surge ahead at the very end. That's been the story of today. Anyway, all words are valid here, as we would expect. And yeah, we should take a look at the equity table here just in case we did miss something on a critical turn. So fall up here, despite... Oh, I totally blanked on the FY spot. I still have trouble visualizing stuff like FY and KY sometimes. Looks dangerous, but maybe it had some potential. And yeah, my opponent actually had a beautiful overlap on the left that was available as a valid dump, but missed it. But you can see he's keeping S, so and I think AUA is partly dumped there with the S hook in mind to create some more space. Oh, I didn't even see cantons. I thought, oh, I don't see sevens there, and I didn't look hard enough. Between the two, I think we take cantons just to kill the S hook that was a likely setup. And the C also prevents further building on the top right. So maybe too snappy a move here without having actually looked at it. This is one of those racks where you're disappointed not to have an R to play Jarosite. Nepotus goes down, though, beautifully done. On a double-double. Yeah. Now, let's keep on going. I didn't see Druid. Oh, we should have looked at the D unhived. I did look at the D unhived. I just didn't see the fives like Druid and did. That would go there. We should have looked a little more closely at that instead of just jumping on inured for much, much less. Wheezing. Look at that. He missed wheezing. We got very lucky there. Dodged a 100-point bullet. And then D Germs is going to smack that spot on the right. Where did the sim like dim? Woo, look at that beautiful overlap there. It didn't miss it. Didn't see it at all. The AIRT leave is still basically going for the C lane, though, up top if you go for that. I was trying to open up more space. Yeah, nothing on this rack. A torned, rotated. Oh, rotated, of course. Yeah, rotated, troted. But I think a torned, with what I was seeing there, trying to keep the second lane open for myself, knowing that I'd need two bingos to come back is the right play. It's just that my opponent drew it and I didn't. And the thing is, he's closing with Cobb on that play because he's ahead, right? So Cobb wasn't necessarily telling me that my opponent was going for a bingo draw, and in fact, it doesn't particularly look like one. He's keeping LOSE, I guess, but it's funny because I actually had Sea Lion myself. Or no, this is my opponent's rack. He's got Sea Lion and Soilage. Sea Lion is the best play by score. So yeah, Sea Lion, to harass someone by repeatedly asking disingenuous questions. Before that, it was not in the lexicon. Because Sea Lion apparently only became a single word when there was that famous internet comic showing sea lions asking you questions on social media. So yeah, I don't know if we'll look at this one too carefully afterwards, but let's grab the last game and see. I got Fording on my first track. We'll see if it fits. This is the opponent I played on round one today. Bongs. Fordings has got to be something that takes an S. Like if you're fording a river. It has to be. I'll try it. It probably draws a challenge. Oh, no, it got kicked. Well, that's terrible. What was I thinking of though? Because I thought there was something to do with fording a river that actually to take the S. And unfortunately, I showed my wreck now, so he's not going to give me a spot. Yeah, he's not going to give it away now. No, we don't have fort going. We have for doing. We have for doing because you can for do something. For do, for done. And the thing is, it would have hit the double double. We would have considered doing that one for 102 points anyway. Had I actually bothered to look at it instead of trying fordings right away. We have for doing. For doing is 100% good, and it's totally going to be blocked now. I played it too fast. We absolutely would have just seen it. And yeah, of course, it's. I don't think it's going down at this point. Good block there. I don't think it fits anymore. Yeah, very good block. So we missed a 102 point play. That's okay. It's it could be worse. This doesn't really even open up. Uh, maybe. I don't know. We go forward and we totally show that we keep ing. It's probably not too promising. But the thing about N and G is that they still go on the right side as potential starts off of the NU, so maybe that's okay. The game is just going to fall apart from here. Just watch it. Totally going to fall apart. So we'll probably just go Churd here if it's available, but there might be something better. Let's look at this carefully. Let's see. Do I have something not quite Jingo? It doesn't fit. Okay, margin, garment, ragments. Lots of stuff will actually go on the NU spot now. Whether that remains open, well, okay. Let's see if there's actually something through the A. So there, we have tons of sevens right now with margins, garment, ragments. But this might be a critical moment here. Let's not totally blow it. Hmm. You gotta alphagram this. I think margin's good. Garments, margin, ragments. Thing about margins is I'm actually not sure if it takes an S. Maybe we actually have an even better placement. No, we need that space. We need that much space. We just go for it. I don't know if we missed something through DA. I get the feeling that we might have. Is that not good? Oh, NUM's no. Okay, hang on. I'm just totally choking today. Oh my goodness. Didn't even look at this. Just gone garment. Yeah, no, I'm just totally blowing it today. Let's second time that I've accidentally showed my hand and just not looked at the hook. So you wonder if KI was a block if he was worried about affords. Why would he be worried about affords though? There. Okay, yeah, now see. I keep letting him block me. We could have just gone garment there. Oh, what a terrible game. Second chance to get a 3x3. Oh, I don't know. I don't think we'll see it. We should not neglect a GR start over here as well. I'm not going to get it this turn though. We just go MARG 27. That's not too bad. It's just that we don't have much potential coming out of that. I don't know if we missed something. Maybe we did. Anyway, dovetail. Yeah, we're just so far behind at this point. This is such a. Okay, well. Do I have something that will go with an LY ending? Anyway, if we go 0-6 today, I think that has been well deserved because of the way I've been playing. But like totally avoidable mistakes everywhere. Maybe we just leave all that stuff open. Because I was originally thinking just going natty or maybe just ditty down here. 21, I don't know. Everything looks terrible. I don't think we just keep all that stuff. Let's go fatty up here. Just open up some space. Yeah, let's open up space. Okay, surely we're not going to miss this time. I don't see it yet. And that's going to hit so hard. Yeah, we're just going to get blown out of water this time, but well. We missed so many clear opportunities too, and just absolutely dreadful game. So currently looking at, well, all of the floaters in the middle, obviously, and the T's on the top right. It's funny because we have an I. We actually have marginal an extension over here. How about LINE? Landline through an N or through an I? I don't see it available. No. I can't believe I can't see it. And nulled through an or U? No. I can't believe I can't see it. How can I not see this? Oh, and I'm so far down on time too now, of course. Well, I've got to leave it open down there. Let's just play off the L's. I just don't see it. I can't believe I don't see it. This should have been such an easy track to play through, but a double L was totally throwing me off. I'm sure I missed something super simple. Reavenge, yeah. We can put the D on the end. We have like naiads and such now. And 94 doesn't kill too much space. But yeah, this was such a careless game. Just missed four doing and played fourings. Had like such an easy bingo here, and we just didn't even look at the three that it was making. It's such elementary mistakes. Anyway, the A does give me an X spot. If we're able to take it, we'd almost certainly just go Wex. I don't really expect it to remain open. But if it does, then we go Wex there, and W is going to dangle too much on the triple, but that's how it goes. It will remain open. So do we go, we have to spend a W. I really can't imagine we'd keep it. Even though it gives way back, way too much back rather, and of course the W is still in the way. Otherwise we actually would be close to something interesting. Powering to a G. Not that it's happening. Yeah, I didn't expect that would stay open. We should, of course, see if the E down here give us anything, but the moment it doesn't really look promising. What we can do is maybe just go. Oh, with so many E's in the bag, though, that's going to get killed. That will not work. We can play off 2 over here. There's only really one major lane of note at the moment. I feel like it will be pretty easily blocked. But I don't really have a good way to open up a second spot because the board is just too exhausted at the moment. It really is just the E and dovetail. That's the only place that is of interest at the moment. We just have to take it, though. And nope. I am looking through the C, but I don't think. Yeah, so this would be apocrine if it's through the C. Maybe there was something else there, but it's not going to be. Actually, well, there are a few, but like none of them go there under the R. And preheat's just going to block everything. And my opponent does know well enough to just try to obstruct the whole board at this point. I've got no space to work with. Unless we can do something here that would dangle a land on the left. There was 7 in the bag, and with the available pool, I don't think it's happening. There is margarine up top, incidentally, if we're giving up on anything more interesting. This opens up no space. Yeah, you saw margarine as well, yeah. This doesn't give us a meaningful hook. That acquits is such a great placement. It just kills everything. I don't know. It's okay. How about this? Because then, well, no, that's not enough space. But this, that would be a C on the left, but you'd have to have the C. It's the only draw that actually works with that. No, there's nothing we can do there that doesn't just get blocked immediately. I think this one's a bit of a wash. But I'm trying to see if there's something that, well, no, because the H and V. The V in particular just kills everything down there. I'm very stuck. Like, we got ourselves in such a bad situation here. I just don't see what could go unless it's like some long shot disconnected 9. Let's just play margarine and just play out the game at this point. Let's just take our 0-6 today and leave. Because, yeah, this is the first time I think I've gone completely winless in one of these streams. But it was very much self-inflicted. This game in particular, completely self-inflicted. Trying to see if we have something that would end with an E over here that would give us a respectable score, and don't really see it. So yeah, just careless playing. But let's just get out of here. Still trying to go for some kind of draw on my opponent's end. I mean, I'm not going to open at this point. We'll just try to get out. One in the bag, so we can't even do very much. Maybe. Yeah, either that or just HM. Get rid of some of this stuff. Somewhat likely valid draw, though. Yeah, no, that doesn't even get us any additional points. Let's just take this. Maybe we have an out. And a blank was last. The blank came out last in the bag of all the things, right? Just to add a little bit of insult to injury. Right when we just decided to throw this game. Yeah, I mean, you're saying hopefully the pendulum swings next time you play and you go 6-0. Well, you know, we've had some pretty good runs sometimes. It's a tough group. But again, today was just self-inflicted mistakes all over. I'm trying to look for something like a 5 that goes here. I don't really see it. Not a good one anyway. Because you'd have to end with the E. Okay, let's see. Do I have something decent? I don't have time to look at it. Let's just get out of here. Maybe there was something. Okay. Both Reavenge and Reavenged are no good. Neither of us thought to challenge it. Anyway, this was just careless. Super, super careless. Not even an interesting game to look at. I think we just know exactly how we lost this one. But we'll go back to some of the other games that have with a more interesting analysis, and we'll take a look at that. I didn't request a sim for the second one. This one will not be interesting to look at as a sim, I think, because we totally blew it by the end. But let's take a look at the plays quickly, and we'll step through. So yeah, we're absolutely at the bottom of the group today, just 0-6 for the first time that we've seen. Missed for doing for 102. Look at this. It had my opponent left it on the board. It would have been this spelling of turquoise without the dangling E for 106. So yeah, no more bingo available, just a complete block. The quits is going to go down. Magnetar for 158. You know, I was actually kind of considering that. I was trying to look for stuff going off Magnet. I didn't actually know Magnetar, I don't think. Or it sounded like a name, rather. Type of neutron star that has very intense magnetic field. So I thought I had missed something there, and we did, in fact. So yeah, I accidentally did the phony 3 here, just didn't look at it properly. We had so many different plays for Argent and Garment. I even saw this overlap as a possibility, and I didn't play it. And had we just done it, then that's a comeback, and we don't get into so much trouble. Hey, look, it's Ming. And, yeah, you think you've seen Magnetar before, but you'd never generate it during a game. Yeah. I've thought about it for a moment, and I thought, no, that sounds like a name. Was not confident in that. So Magnetar was still available even after the block on the right, and we didn't take it. So Dovetail goes with Violated. Netley would have gone here nicely, I guess, but... So, okay, I knew I missed something on this one. And I was so thrown off by the double L, I didn't see the easy stuff like Panelled. Lakeland, I wouldn't have known. Canelled, Dentally, Glendale, Lendable. How do we miss Lendable? Leadenly. At the very least, we should have seen stuff like Panelled and Lendable. So, yeah, it just completely blew this game. At this point, we're 200 points behind anyway, but... So, Reavenge, I didn't even think of challenging because I just thought, okay, we'll just play into it. That's another big swing there. I was sure I'd seen Reavenge before, that's the thing. Yeah, Margarine actually is the top equity play there, and Metapon is the out. Seems like it's the only out. Yuck. And yeah, you saw Landline as well, and it was blocked. Yeah, I saw Landline after it was blocked. Metapon, a pain-relieving drug derived from opium. Anyway, that was terrible. Okay, so bottom of the group today. Got absolutely killed here. But that happens every now and then. Next week, the ambition is to get back to running the 10-round session like how we used to do it. We'll hopefully be able to make it for that. We will step through a few of the games today. Let me make sure we've got the sim on some of them first. Just going to grab what we can here. And queue a couple of the games that we didn't pull in earlier. I'm not going to bother with the sim for the last one because I don't think it'll be interesting, but we'll grab the other ones. I think I grabbed 3 already, or actually let me check. Oops. Yeah, we got that one already. This one here, that was with the UE mistake. And this one here, we just lose the C line at the end, so probably not too much to look at, but we'll look at some of this stuff quickly. I don't know that we'll necessarily step through every single one of them, but might as well take a look. Yeah, they used to play around with a couple of different formats, like 8 rounds, 10 rounds, 12 rounds. We've kind of settled for 6 for the last little while. And there have still, even with 6 rounds, been issues with people leaving midway through and messing up the groups. But It'll be nice to have a 10-round format again. I don't think we'll go 0-10, but yeah, today was just particularly bad. Okay, let's go back to some of the early games and take a look at the simming. We won't be too thorough, but there might have been some critical turns that we wanted to take a look at. So, okay, this one, yeah, fade out. Toby's. The sim does like my placement rather than going open with it. So yeah, we missed the ropeable double-double. We saw that earlier on the equity table. Then on this turn, yeah, I wanted me to continue with petrol over here. This, we just also neglected to challenge KEE on that turn. I still think there was something here with the T. We have to open something up and look at it. Actually, I wonder if the bot does it. Hang on. Petronel. This would have fit. Had we... Actually, what was the sequence here? Oh, no, we needed to play EL first. And Petronel would have required that to remain open. Okay, no, so we wouldn't have been able to play it anyway. But I knew there was something there with the T. It's just that it was no longer available. Yeah, I'll just try to go to some of the critical turns to see. So yeah, Sim prefers a Winnie over here, despite the double R over there. Just going to do a quick comparison here. It's sort of interesting. I'm trying to discern why it is that Winnie has an advantage here, because it does reduce the average opponent score on the next turn by about 6 points. That seems to be a major factor here. But it kind of depresses the scoring for both players. With a similar bingo percentage for me going into the next draw. Not great, but it continues this very defensive game. Yeah, Heft is a beautiful play up there. So yeah, so this we realized afterwards was definitely a mistake. Only 1.4% win percentage mistake by how the sim is looking at it, but by going ZINE, we left it open to the E and A front hook quite unnecessarily. Playing it like this as well, we give ourselves a second spot for using the H. So, kind of rough there. Yeah, because the average score for the opponent is about 3% lower than what we actually went with. Only considered a medium mistake here. Well, again, the kind of small, medium, large mistake metric has to be taken with a grain of salt when one player is well ahead in win percentage. Kind of interesting that the win percentage has such a disparity at this point when our scores are not actually that far apart, probably because it's such a dead board. Incredibly dead board. We did miss Rudish. which I hadn't considered at all. We thought the alternative was maybe Shiv. I had not even looked at Rudish. And yeah, Plaguers hits pretty hard. Rav, the sim does like, although at this point, that's very much a long shot lane, which we do hit later on. Interesting that it does prefer to play off 2 here. I guess it scores 22 and still has some decent drawing potential into the Rav spot. Opponent misses Caseload. And here's Endrins. Very necessary play here. So, yeah, this did not work out. This is interesting. It sets up JO for me. And my opponent doesn't have much to do on that spot because the C blocks off any parallels going up. The hard-hitting tiles that remain next to A, well, the only thing that parallels next to A would be the B or the M in terms of scoring. So yeah, I hadn't considered that. That actually is a massive J setup for us. You can see just what a difference it is that it not only gets me about 5 points up on the opponent's average score next turn, but then significantly higher average for my score next turn because we've left that opportunity open. So we really misplayed the J situation here in terms of looking for some kind of setup to close the difference. Gave away far too many points on this one, and that pretty much loses the game at this point, as we knew. So yeah, we didn't really take the time to do an optimal end game at this point, but Sig does better. And then Ow is still part of the sequence over here, and the opponent would go out first anyway, but kind of interesting that Sig is better than, because we went here anyway. Oh, probably because, yeah, you play Mike over here, then it sees the possibility of the opponent going above as he does and scores quite a bit more, so we deny more points if you go Sig instead of Mike, although it's a very small margin. 3 additional points at the end that is in a losing situation regardless. Okay, let's take a look at round 2. Again, yeah, just going to skip some critical turns. It won't be quite as thorough as usual today. So, Igloo and Agloo, for that matter. And Agloo is also just another spelling of igloo. There are a whole bunch of variants of that. I don't know if they're all good in both lexica. I think they are. Do you know the I spellings, of course? Yeah, logoi rather, we considered. But igloo is a much better placement. We have the S hook to take advantage of it as well. Kadai. Yeah, Pood blocks off what I was looking at with the underlap there. We had Vanist previously. Venations was a case of not properly looking for the 9. Just didn't look at that as a possibility at all. Interestingly enough, the Vo over here, well, still worse than some of the other possibilities that would keep EST and give ourselves more lanes to play with. I mean, because they'll score a lot more as well, just, yeah, because you still score 40-something points. We're giving up a lot of points just to go fish one, and so the average between 2 turns does not actually come out that well, even with the non-bingo plays there. I mean, it does give me a 94.3% bingo draw if I just fish off one, but then, that's nearly a 40-point sacrifice. And almost practically passing the turn to do it. Anyway, that hits. Yeah, I was considering both Mixie and Mux. Mixie does come out ahead. Obstructs the S lane on the right side as well. And went for Chow over here. Oh, actually, no, we didn't. We saved up Chow for the next turn. I thought it'd go down here first, and not too much of a difference between the two, given that we are still holding Chow on the top spot as a possibility. But it is interesting that going Chow first is favored. Gets me a significantly more bingo draw going into next turn. And of course, here's the big comeback play. And yeah, wow. Oh, down here. That's interesting. Yeah, I didn't even look at that spot down there as a possibility. I guess if you do that, then it denies the triple as well. And the score is so even at this point that, reducing the volatility in there actually does matter. At this point, we went vent. Here, yeah, I was just trying to simplify the rack somehow. We didn't really think about vertical plays going into that H, and we really should have looked at that properly because at this point we are kind of struggling. So the sim doesn't like Taj over here, in spite of the fact that I think it actually blocked some play of mine. No, it didn't. It just blocked sort of a medium-sized play of mine up top. I think we were looking at Chow up top or something, which would have given back a massive J spot. Regardless. Interestingly enough, Trijet isn't even the most favored play here because it spends the blank. Jar retains the blank, and then you have the Ajar hook up top that could potentially be exploited. So, yeah, Sim doesn't like this play at all. 20% drop. Because we're missing 50-point plays down here. We should have at least seen a new or you now. I don't think I remembered now, even though it is a hook word when we should have recalled it. But yeah, I didn't look properly at the 50-point plays involving a W down there. We just didn't inspect it, even though the spot was right there for the taking. So this was actually kind of a game-losing mistake not to jump on this spot. At this point, though, we're in a fair bit of trouble. Benign. Keeping a CC, really? What would you even do with that, though? I mean, you would be drawing 5 in a bag. That actually comes out ahead, really. That's a very surprising result. And of course, my opponent hits. And benign would not have stopped that. Benign would have given that away in the same spot. And in fact, benign would have done worse against this draw because this would have emptied the bag. Or rather, this would have been against an empty bag, and we would have just lost by an even bigger margin. But regardless, against this kind of draw, we just don't have a chance. So it looks like critical mistake was actually the W play down here. I had not even considered that. Yeah, Carnier reincur is good, of course, and either way, we can't do much better than playing 6 tiles in that spot. Okay, that's round 2. This was the one where we lost a fungoid at the end. Felt like we were doing okay until then. Let me see if I can bring this up. There we go. So yeah, Tiki does a bit better than trying to exchange out. And then we missed double tilted because I didn't know it. In fact, I was considering wilted, not knowing about the T-hook in front. And yeah, that's a huge score we miss out on there, so not a surprise that it's classified as such a huge mistake in terms of win percentage loss. Oaf actually does well enough. And the sim likes the other placement slightly better. I guess the S is less vulnerable, even if the A does give back a little bit up top. But we're talking about a 0.5% difference here. And yeah, Bruvs seems to do okay. Dune does okay. I didn't really like the EIO leaf there, but there wasn't much getting out of that. And then this is okay. So yeah, significantly favors XI over EX here. So this turn we actually dithered a bit on which one to go with. And spending the last E there did not turn out well. I guess because, you still have the possibility for bingo draws that are down below in the bottom left, which we do eventually take. But yeah, you can see that in terms of the difference, is about a 9% difference in bingo draw going into the next turn. And playing through some of the garbage here. Keeping the QU together, though. We take Soapier. Didn't see this. And that is interesting because it obstructs like crazy while we're about 50 ahead. it essentially kills the possibility of a bottom lane, which would have been to our advantage at this point. Because ultimately we lose to the bottom lane. So that is interesting that this is actually a large mistake here instead of going young down below with ARY. That's really interesting that it doesn't like my opponent doing this at all. Well, I mean, it's keeping blank S, no wonder, right? Keeping blank S with still lanes open from the P and the I, yeah, no wonder. I got nothing to work with over here. A lot of the plays do involve, with 3 in the bag, just playing off TA. And I got a decent win percentage at this point, but then we just lose straight up to the bingo managing to go down. Now this... Yeah, I guess if we do a quick comparison here with what I actually played. So, opponent's bingo percentage is almost half of what we ended up giving away. We ended up giving away a 30% hit, and my opponent did in fact hit. And look at that, about a 13-point difference in average score. My opponent's next turn, and given the margin at this point in the game, it does matter quite a bit. So this is still only a 75% win for my opponent after this play, but I guess because it depends on which is the remaining draw in the bag. Because it sees that it's a win with every draw for my opponent other than an O. And there are 2 O's that are available. But I did draw both O's. And so I just straight up lose. But apparently it was a winnable position if my opponent drew one of the 2 O's. And then because I guess if I had the W instead of the O, so if my opponent draws the O, then apparently there's a win that is available for me here. That's interesting. I wonder. I might have to get the bot to anagram this one. Hang on. Because it's seeing something maybe from the P. Let me see if we'll do it. Toe plane. Oh, that doesn't fit though. But maybe it. Is going to the G or the I or something. I'm not sure. Waterlog. Oh, okay. Yeah. It loses the waterlog. Had we drawn the W rather than the O, we win with waterlog. I might actually have been able to find that, although we were far down on time. And the G ending can be hard to spot. So, yeah, I mean, we kind of lost a draw at the end there. But a couple of critical moments, like the way that we played off TA, could have done better there in terms of reducing possibilities for my opponent. Anyway, so much for this round. Let's go back. This one was the one where we did the phony UE and essentially lost to that. But let's see if we did anything else really poorly to completely blow it. So yeah, missed the big overlap over here with DOWP. Unparted is really the only play there. And we do get it. Missed Abnegate. That we had looked at earlier. We do hit Tolerance. Opponent hits Tawniest. So prefers Zoa over Zoe, maybe because Zoe does give back a bit on the right side, and there's also the issue of the bingos that we're potentially drawing towards, or rather Zoa does actually sacrifice bingo percentage, but no, that's interesting. That would do that much better because, I mean, it is scoring the extra 5 points, I guess. It's pretty close, though. Pretty close either way. Because we are limiting our next score by shedding the A, but the extra 5 points do seem to matter in a game that is close at this point. And yeah, so this was the turn where I kind of blew it because of the phony, because we played to the right of the right of the Q rather than accidentally made UE and didn't look. Very, very careless. And then my opponent just punishes immediately with eagerly over there. And at no point do we ever see meagerly. UPO. Yeah, because since the M hook is available above meagerly, then this beautiful leave here actually has some possibilities that we hadn't even begun to explore. That's quite strongly comparatively. Gets the bingo chance up to about 37.5. So Snarf I just did not see. That's a significant number of points there, although the win percentage at this point is exceptionally consequential. Yeah, so Tilly here, I guess it dangles a lane going to the T. And then Amnestic we catch. But at this point, it's already a losing game. So Haku and Habu. We went with Haku. Haku gives me a 0% bingo draw in the next one. Haku, or rather Habu, keeping the K. I can see it, actually. That's if you have something like keeping the K instead of the B, you can still have things like shirked. Keeping the B gets you nothing. Keeping the B completely forecloses bingos. But keeping the K, you threaten something like shirked. Up top. With the SH start under the C. Yeah, actually, it is exactly what the outcome would have been. That had we played Habu instead of Haku, we draw shirked, and we are able to play shirked underneath. Like, I mean, this plus 2 points, so it'll be 76 points. 76 points plus 4 for my opponent is 80 points, so that still loses. That gets us up to 450 56. And actually less than that, because if we had played Habu, then we're on 4 points less. So that gets us up to 452. So it still loses. But yeah, Habu instead of Haku does make a pretty big difference there. Just because the bead runs up against everything and doesn't synergize. Let's take a look at round 5 quickly and we'll be done for today. This was another one where my opponent just gets the great draw at the end and we lose, but let's see if there's anything to look at specifically. Slanty, I hadn't even considered. But NY isn't too far behind here. Because it's very much still trying to go for a bingo draw with over 50%. Ragos is the only play and it hits. Sim doesn't like that I missed the 32-point fall over here, or even the flan. Yeah, because we block off the E on that side too, and keeping NST with the E dangling open is still pretty good. Yeah. We just jumped on constant here. I didn't look at it enough to see Cantons, which is such an easy one to spot. Just didn't look properly. A lot of these plays kind of write themselves. Hiver. That's on this spot over here, I see. Instead of on the right side that we went for. Really, just dangling all that stuff in the middle of nowhere. Interesting. Because, yeah, it's interesting that it shakes out that way. I guess it's a slightly higher bingo percentage from me to have played Hive on the right. But naturally, dangling Hive on the left like that leads to a bump in scoring for everybody. Just from the openness of the position. And here, yeah, Sim doesn't like this at all. Because we didn't see the 5s that would end with a D over there. We should have been able to look at that a little bit longer. I was trying to find something to the D, and we just didn't see Druid or Undid or Unrid. That's a big difference there. Very fortunate for me that my opponent didn't find Wheezing, which would have been a very substantial play. But then D-Germs does catch us over there. The long-term consequence of not having taken that spot with Cantons when it was available. And at this point, the win percentage does not look good. This is one where we do maybe kind of lose the draws a bit. Dim is right here. Dim. Yeah, we just never looked at that overlap on the right side there. That's a beautiful fit. Scored 35. Beautiful leave that still has some possibilities going to the C. Or with the blanker S draw under Fellas. Something that we never really thought about was that Fella was still in open lane. Actually, at no point did I really even think about it. Just a big blind spot. Interestingly enough, this cob block over here, the sim doesn't like it all from my opponent's part. Because it looks like it's seeing... Well, actually interesting that it kind of identifies this as the best play, even though it's reading 100% for this one. Interestingly enough, yeah, so it rotated with this strange looking overlap is preferred. We sacrifice about 4% win percentage. I mean, you know, the fact that we're still potentially competitive at that point does matter, but it depends very much on the draw. And we just had exactly the draw shakeout that favored my opponent here, and that he's got the natural bingo with an empty bag. So that's kind of interesting that, you know, after this, we still had about a 32% win chance. It's just that we landed in a situation that just absolutely does not work. Because my opponent just finds the best play, and then there we go. That's it. So some things within my control, some things were not. Definitely, I think it was a major point of regret that we didn't see cantons on the right side when the S lane was such a massive point of volatility the whole game. And we did eventually get quite punished for it. Anyway, that's it. I mean, the last game, we know what happened there. It was just the goofy misplays and the ensuing 100-point swings. So yeah, kind of terrible Scrabble today. The first time that we've ever played one of these sessions and just not even picked up a single game. But it was, again, very much self-inflicted, and at least with some of the earlier rounds, the critical mistakes were interesting in terms of what we can learn from them. Other than that, it's just, you know, not being careless, not playing phonies, not misplacing the tiles, not playing too quickly before we see an even easier and higher scoring play available. Just a lot of execution errors throughout the games today. So that's kind of unfortunate, but, you know, we'll come back and try to do better next time. And again, it looks like the current ambition is to go back to running the 10-round format next week, so we may in fact have an extra long Scrabble stream. I've kind of been off Twitch recently in the last week or two, apart from that, but we're just on a little bit of a break, and we'll come back with some of the other usual content as well on the video game side soon enough. So, all the way at the bottom of the pack today, still maintaining that 2,000 rating on Google's at least, so we can keep playing in a top group. But kind of got wrecked. Anyway, thanks so much for all the viewership today, for the raid from Arlen much earlier as well, and for all of the continued viewership from chatters and lurkers alike. We will pass you folks on to something else very shortly, but in the meantime, thanks for joining me for another Scrabble stream. We'll be back for more whenever we can. And until we meet again at our next destination, have a wonderful time ahead of you with everything that you may be cobbling together this week. And as always, fare thee well.